Okay, so today what I'm going to talk about is the call for papers. We've all seen the call for speakers where conventions and trade shows are looking for speakers, whether it's keynotes, workshop presenters, breakout session people, to come to their event and provide educational content. Another thing that they have is something called call for papers. Now, the call for papers, when that comes out, there's one main way you can learn about that. You can go to Google and set up an auto alert for call for papers and just type that in, and Google will send you an email to say, hey, here's a call for papers. I'll show you exactly what this looks like. Here's one of them now. Let's see here. But it'll just say call for papers. It's a Google alert, and it'll show all the not all of these are appropriate call for papers, but most of these are affiliated with some type of show that is coming up, and those are the ones you want to look at. So for example, with this particular one, I pulled up two of these. So one of them is for the adult learner, and then the other one is for the 2021 NAB show. Okay, so whenever you see these where they're talking about measuring success in the adult community, call for abstracts, when they're due, what I do is I'll click on it, I'll open up the link, like what it has here for the call for abstracts, the adult learner 2022. So they're looking for basically for people to write an article or what they're calling a paper. But this is usually something that they are publishing in addition to the actual, for example, they'll have like a booklet, or they'll have like some type of expo or trade show, like a binder, so to speak, that everybody gets when they come to the show. And usually they will also sometimes do a magazine in addition to that. So it could go in the magazine, it could go in the actual expo, 2022 show expo file. So that is something that's typically printed, but that's why they call it call for papers. Same thing with the call for speakers. These always have deadlines. So this one is open from the 23rd of March to June 24th of this year. And the subject fields are childhood and education, educational technology, human rights, public policy, social sciences. So this is for the Irish Journal of Adult and Community Education. So a lot of times, if there's an event coming up that you're like it sounds like, I think this one's going to be in Ireland. I'll have to go down and look. But if there's one that you're like, you definitely know you can't, hey, this sounds like an interesting event. You're not sure if you can make it, or perhaps they didn't pick your call for speaker submission. Maybe they gave you a rejection letter. One of the things I also like to do is email them back, the meeting planner, and say, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. I would definitely like to keep in touch with you for next year. I also like to ask, do you have a call for papers or abstracts where you're needing written content for the event? And if they come back, if they do have a call for papers or a call for abstracts, they can let you know, or they can send you the link. So even though you may have not been chosen to attend, you could still write something up, and it could be picked up in the actual publication or magazine that's affiliated with the event. So it's still a good way for you to get your expertise out to the attendees at that event, even though you won't be there. So that's one really great way that you can utilize the call for papers and still be able to benefit for some of the events that you may not have gotten picked for. But when you find these, when you do a call for papers, an alert on Google, this will come up, and you can read through it of what they're looking for. A lot of it, like here, it says papers that explore the following topics are particularly welcome. So it's a lot of this is about like concepts of learning, growth, and development. And this may be something you ladies might be interested in. I don't know, but I can send you these links if you are. So for example, performance objectives and learner success. You can kind of read through here. If it's something that you're like, hey, I can definitely write about this, you can write up an article, and it's going to tell you how to, number one, submit this, how they want it, what format they want it in. So there's journal submissions can take 2 forms on this one, according to this paperwork here. So you can do a practice-based paper, I won't go into all of the detail. Maximum word count, they're going to tell you how many words it should be, minimum, maximum. How to submit the abstract. Now, these people want you to email it in. Abstract should be 400 to 500 words. You should also include a short bio. So that's going to tell you how to review and submit, or create and submit this one. So this particular one, like I said, is for the adult learner. So this is something else you can do. It's almost kind of like a media opportunity, but it's usually filtered around some type of event that they're doing. It could be their annual convention. It could be, that they produce a particular magazine at a certain time of year, and it's going to go out and be distributed at their events throughout the year. Every single call for abstracts or call for papers is going to be different. So it's usually going to come under that kind of format. It'll say call for abstracts or call for papers. Now here's the other one that I clicked on. I just went ahead and pulled up the information. This one is for the 2021 NAB show. So what they're looking for, the National Association of Broadcasters is what this is. So they've opened up their call for speakers already, apparently. This was back in March. This is an older one. So they're looking for submissions from either people who are going to present or other people who are not. So this particular one, let's see. They're looking, should relate to pressing issues facing today's media professionals. So, you can kind of read through it, see what they're looking for. Other areas for which NAB is seeking submissions include best practice, business practice in developing content landscape, marketing and technology. So if somebody's, a marketing professional, this would be a good thing, or mobile or IT, professional would also benefit from writing here. So it says submissions are due by April 30th. Obviously this one's closed. So if we click on the link, it's going to go to a closed page, but it'll have like all of the submission instructions. Sometimes it is an actual form you're going to fill out, but usually with the call for papers, it's going to actually ask you to write up the article and have it in whatever format they're asking for, a PDF, Microsoft Word, and then you can send it off. So usually if they publish this, they're going to let you know. And what I normally like to do is say, hey, I think that's great. Is there any way you could send me an electronic copy or a physical copy in the mail, which they will usually do. But this, again, it's just a great way for you to still have a presence at a show, or or several shows if they use the same publication for all their different shows. Some associations will do that. So that way more people see your information. So it's just a great branding tool. And it's also, again, a great tool to use if you do get turned down for a call for speaker submission. They don't, I'm sorry, we, after careful selection, it's usually a form email they'll send you if it's a rejection letter, or rejection email, I should say. It's always good to, that's one thing you can do to start building that relationship with them, to say, hey, are you all looking for any call for papers or abstracts for the event? I would love to write something. Where can I go to find that? So they'll let you know as well. So I like to use this two different ways, but it's really good for branding. And if you are speaking, I would still try to do this as well, because if you're speaking and you have something in their magazine, the industry magazine, or the actual, the show's actual booklet that they produce about the expo that they hand out to everybody, that's even better, because people see your name in print. They can come and hear you in person at the event. So it's kind of like a double, you get 2 for 1, so to speak. So that's really what the call for proposals or call for papers and call for abstracts are, what they look like. If you'd like to get these, like I said, all you have to do is go to Google and type in call for papers, and you can do again, this is what it looks like, Google Alert, or you can just type in Google Alerts. Like here's you can type in what you're looking for, create an alert about call for papers. I already have mine set up, so I can't really do this again, but you type it in here, call for papers, and click search, and it'll have you select it. And then that way it's going to email you every time Google finds something. It doesn't send you everything just based on the way Google's algorithm works, but it will send you enough where you can take a look at those when they come in and see if there's a writing opportunity that you think would be worth your time. So that's how you would go to get these, where to find them. Or you can just go to Google and do a simple search that says call for papers or call for abstracts, and it'll pop up different things. Should you decide to do that, let's see here. Should you decide to do that, when you go to Google, what you can do is you can put call for papers and hit enter. It's going to bring up a multitude of things. If you search for these, if this works for you and you like how this works, and you've set up an alert, which is great, but you also want to see what the alerts aren't sending you. What you can do, a little trick to use on Google, is if you click on tools, and it has a little drop down button here for any time. Like for example, we do a search every week, typically every Monday. So if I do a weekly search, I'm going to put what's new that's come up the past week. And it'll show me all the call for papers that have come up in the past week. So that way it's not showing me stuff I've already looked at. So that's something else you can do if you don't want to set up a Google alert. We do both on our end for the call for speakers. So because it's not always going to send you in this email, when you have the Google alerts, it's not going to show you everything that's on there, just how Google works. I don't really know why it's like that, but this is another way to find them. And even if you wanted to put in call for papers and then type in communications or whatever your specialty is, you can do that too. Completely up to you. So if this is something where if you're watching the recording, you can do that as well. You can just type in whatever your area of expertise is, and then call for papers, and then put in whatever communication or leadership, and it should bring everything up. But if you do these weekly, that's what you want to do, is go to tools and click on you can do any time, past hour, past 24 hours, the past month, however often you'd like to look. That way you're only seeing the results for the call for papers that have come in that Google found completely in the past week. So that's another way you can do it. But again, this is basically what they look like. They're going to give you the actual details, and what they're looking for, what they're looking for people to write about, and how that should look, and where you should submit that to. So that is the end of the call for papers. So I hope this helps you. And I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to stop recording.